and we're going to start actually with the Kansas City San Francisco 49ers game. It's a 4:25 game. It was actually kind of close there rolling into the fourth quarter, but San Francisco, I think they had brought it to 5 or so after a touchdown in the beginning of the fourth quarter. And then it just really all fell apart.
And then they just turned it off, not turned it on, turned it off.
Exactly, completely turned it off. Ended up losing 44-23. They get blown out. Kansas City looks as dominant as ever. Any takeaways from the game before we sort of get into the San Francisco specific sort of drama?
The big thing kind of being, I think what you said about the 49ers, I think this will kind of bleed into other topics I know in the Zone Blitz, but I think just not the 49ers, the Chiefs, looking very dominant, right? Putting up 44 points against the 49ers, against a team where everyone was like, oh, this team is right. They were in the NFC Championship game last year, right? They star-studded defense and all that sort of stuff and whatever, but kind of offensively and defensively holding on pretty tight. I guess the one other thing I'll say is I know Christian McCaffrey was not used as much as I think he will be. I think this is that's the one kind of asterisk you could put in this game, or at least put on him, is that there was only one practice and a couple days sort of thing to get ready. He was still probably used more than I thought. 8 carries, 2 catches, but either way, what are your thoughts? We can get further, and I know you have more thoughts on this.
Yeah, so just before we get into specifically the CMC trade, this game, I'd echo what you said. What you just said. Obviously, it looked like Kansas City was dominant. For me, at no point in that game, watch the whole game. Game of the week on Fox, not a sponsor. Watch the whole game, and telling jokes while you're taking a drink.
Not sponsored.
So we can get a spit take on video. No, but this game, not at one point in this game that I think that San Francisco had a chance. From the first quarter on, even when it was like, oh man, San Francisco just scored and they cut it to 5 or whatever.
One score game, yeah.
Or maybe it was 9. I don't remember. Either way, so much so that at one point I just fell asleep during the game on the couch. I just straight up fell asleep, woke up. Kansas City was still up. Of course they were. You just knew that even if they got into a tight situation, Mahomes and the offense were going to be able to
they would have gotten a score, even if the 49ers closed the gap, right, and got a 2-point lead, right, they charged down the field in 13 seconds and got a field goal, right, and that 49ers team's going to play some prevent defense in that sort of situation and give up a field goal. So yeah, so the Christian McCaffrey, or do you want to go to that first?
You go ahead.
I would say, I don't think we can just look at one game and say this is now a terrible trade. I do think we need more time to see. You can't say that and say that it is a terrible trade. You could still easily say when the trade happened, this will not be a good trade. Christian McCaffrey, injury prone, 49ers, love to hurt players. Not like hurt players, but use these sort of running positions very heavily, like running back stuff, and potentially get lots of use. And it is a lot of picks for a running back, but so you could be very negative on the trade in that sense. I don't think you can say it's failed. You obviously can't say after one game it's failed or anything. I do think I am still excited to see next week. I think if it's not working next week, right? I know the 49ers playbooks may be all complicated. Maybe it's very complicated, but I'd hope he can integrate into it next week and be used very heavily, and maybe we get to see something more. But I guess that's my thoughts. I know it's not super organized, but what do you think?
Hey, you said we can't say it's a terrible trade. Yeah, I am absolutely going to say it's a terrible trade. I know we're all about, hey, let's give some reasonable football analysis. Jack has provided you that about this topic. Time for me to jump in the deep end and give a hot take. All right, this is my turn to say some crazy shit on the podcast. Okay, this trade makes absolutely no sense. Let me sit you in the front office of the San Francisco 49ers. Last week, as we're doing our podcast, they're finalizing this deal because it came out after episode 14 last week.
Yeah.
And so we're doing the podcast talking about how the 49ers just got handedly beat by the Atlanta Falcons 28-14. They let Atlanta and Marcus Mariota and no joke, practice squad guys who were coming off the practice squad to start in Atlanta, they let that team beat them. And you know what they said? We're real close. We're one player away.
We're one running back away. Not just one player. We're one running back away.
Not quarterback. No, we are literally one piece away, and we are going to trade 4 picks away. We're going to trade next year's draft away, essentially.
Yeah. Because they still don't have their first, because they traded their first for Trey Lance, who's not playing because he's hurt, because they had him on like a QB power.
In ultimate F them picks fashion, they F them picks, right? But the problem is, you did it for a guy who, yes, he fits the scheme because, like you said, he's injury prone, and that's a big thing out there in San Francisco. So he fits the scheme perfectly. But you know what? I hate it football wise because you already have that guy on the team. His name is Deebo Samuel. Yeah. You have him already. Why would you go and get a second one? It's like, oh man, but Shanahan, imagine what he could do with 2 Deebos. He might do some fun stuff. I'm not gonna lie, but that wasn't a place of need. I don't think.
Could you know what I mean? I'm not sure. I'd have to check this. I'd have to check this. But right, Deebo Samuel, he had 1 rush for 2 yards this game. I haven't been checking it, but I'm not sure if they've been using him as much from the backfield. This is a complete speculation. I have no stats to support this because I just thought of this now based on you saying that. But could it be that was the thing over the offseason with the whole Deebo Samuel? Will he get traded? He's not happy. Like the whole Deebo Samuel drama was. I think part of it was that he wasn't sure how happy he was with how he was being used. He maybe thought that some of that backfield, that maybe that's what was going to get him hurt. Maybe that's why they think we don't want to use him in that role. We want to use him. He's still fast. He can still run routes well, whatever. We're going to try to use him as more for wide receiver 1 role, and then, have Christian McCaffrey run the kind of stuff they were using Deebo for as a kind of maybe, I don't want to say effort to keep Deebo, but kind of effort to still have that part of their offense without losing Deebo, maybe.
Sure.
Why are they
that's a good reasonable take. If you think that Deebo... Do you think Deebo's a number 1 receiver? Do you think that... I mean, because I think that a big chunk of his appeal and his talent is that you can run him out of the backfield. Yeah. That you can... His run after catch is the most impressive thing about it. You could throw him a 5-yard drag route and he could go for 50. I don't know about
it's like a Julian Edelman. Hey, Patriots had like Julian Edelman as may as well have been their wide receiver 1. But I get your point. It's like, yeah, but you could use him like a Cooper Kupp role. But I think Cooper Kupp's better at that sort of like dink and dunk, sort of thing. Like, but I don't know. In conclusion,
this is a San Francisco 49ers team that is top 10 in defense even with all their injuries. But they're middle of the pack, if not worse, offensively. 19th in points per game, 10th in yards per game. So they're right there in the middle of the pack. Do I think this McCaffrey trade puts them over the top? No. Do I think that they're a playoff team? Maybe. Maybe they're a playoff team, and anything could happen in the NFC playoffs. I mean, I know they went to the championship game last year. But
are they in the notes when you say are they a playoff team? Are they a contender? Do you mean a contender to be in the playoffs or a playoff team? Right. Because the Eagles, that's a playoff team right there. They're 100% in the playoffs, right? But do I think the 49ers are 100%? I definitely think we'll be seeing them week 14, right? And it's going to say in the hunt. I think they'll still be in the hunt week 14, definitely. Will they be? But in that division right now, I mean, I don't know. I think they could very well make the playoffs, given the NFC, given how the NFC is. I think they probably make the playoffs. I do not think they make the NFC Championship game again. That would be absurd, even in the NFC. Even with the NFC how it is, it would be crazy.
It's just that this type of trade would make perfect sense for a team that thinks they are that one player away, like Buffalo. Buffalo's leading rusher for years has been Josh Allen.
Yeah, It's great.
He's a quarterback.
Christian McCaffrey to the Bills would be that put them over the top. You don't have to use injury. You don't have to use your injury prone running back too heavily. You get to use him well. You get to use him efficiently, right? You don't have to run him into the dirt. But it still adds. It still might be worth it.
If they had given up a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth or whatever, if Buffalo had, I'd have no qualms. I'd say it makes perfect sense. They're trying to beat Kansas City.
They won a Super Bowl, right? Yeah.